my first time.
All right. This is like I'm back on an aircraft carrier. Just this is a nice room. If I could, I'm sorry I missed your comments. I wanted to wait to see how the vote came out back, Waxman Dingle. My question, I guess, has to do with the chairman's comment that a lot of people are losing their homes. And I do appreciate your comments about LIBOR. I think it actually hit 6.2% for a while, and 50% of all credit cards are tied to LIBOR, and 50% of all ARMs. And that's what I'm interested in, is the small businesses and the, let's say, loans, mortgages. My take on this issue that we're in is you have to fix the lending problem. The first week in October was the first time in the U.S. history of this nation no bond was ever issued for a whole week. So I understand what you're talking about at this macro level. We've got to fix the lending problem. But my take on this is that with 85,000 homes going into foreclosure in October, a 25% increase from a year ago, and 3 million homes are in default at an annualized rate, that the bills we have, is that trying to stop this foreclosure problem is really the long rail that you have to have for the economy until you stabilize by stabilize the housing market. You will finally stabilize, I think, the economy. You can have lending going, but this cycle of foreclosures with house prices stop, people get out, no one's buying homes. My take on the bills that have passed here, the FHA reform, although we had hoped 500,000 people might take advantage of it, where we wrote it down to say today appraisal of 90% of today's market value, probably only 200,000 people are going to take advantage of that, or small, mortgage brokers or whomever owns the loan. And I understand we've kind of nationalized the Fannie and Freddie, so we can make some credit more available, so that would help. But my take on it is much more needs to be done in this housing area, which will go a long way towards small businesses. And I'd be interested first in Treasury's comment on that and yours, because there has been this debate in the administration. I think FDIC has talked about, maybe I have the wrong agency, but my take is this is really an area that has so much to do with small businesses and communities and school taxes as we stop having blighted neighborhoods. But until we address this issue, which I don't think we've done in a comprehensive way, we are really going to have a rail going out there that is not joined up to stabilizing this overall economy. Could you comment on that?
Yes, I'd be pleased to. Your points are very valid regarding the fact that this economic downturn is being prolonged by what's going on in the housing markets. We've had 2 years now, approximately, of housing market declines. And
2 years of
housing price declines, approximately. Since last year, Treasury has attempted to tackle this issue on a number of fronts. When we discuss HOPE now, a volunteer program, it's helped 2.5 million Americans to date. That's not a small number. And we'd expect 200,000 more per month going forward. We have put Fannie and Freddie Mac, as you mentioned, into conservatorship. The FHFA has. And at the same time, we've offered confidence in that market.
I know what we've done. My question is, we have 85,000 foreclosures last month, a 25% increase over a year ago, despite all your efforts and Congress's. What needs to be done?
We have, I'd say this, the recent actions by the GSEs, as well as several major banks, to have streamlined modifications is a very good step in the right direction, following on the examples that the FDIC put in place with IndyMac. We're going to see the fruits of those type of actions in the near future. When we see the private sector taking over some of the practices that the public sector has implemented, that's a very good sign, and I think that's going to spread as well.
So basically, you're okay with status quo? Yes or no?
No.
Okay.
I think at this point we are, as Secretary Paulson mentioned, we are exploring all of our options. We are very interested in Sheila Bair's plan. We need to discuss that further. But as I said, we're never satisfied with the status quo.
Sir, could you answer the same question? Because we're at our 32-month consecutive month, despite all the great actions by Congress and the executive branch, of where each of the months has been greater in foreclosures than the same corresponding month a year earlier. Could you tell me if you kind of feel good about the present plans we have going on in view of that every month it's getting worse?
This is an incredible challenge, and I've done a lot at the Fed to travel around the country to see the on-the-ground challenges in a lot of different districts. In Cincinnati, for example, I was there with the Uptown Coalition and saw the incredible challenges in these neighborhoods. So this is what you talk about is very real. These are not just large statistics, but these are really affecting individual homeowners. And I do think that that we can definitely be doing more.
What would that be?
Well, I think we've just had some new proposals from Hope for Homeowners, and the approaches that they're taking there that may involve some principal write-downs. I think those were just announced in the last few days, and so I think they have some potential to be helpful. I think we do need to do more streamlined.
That was the legislation that we had passed, if I'm correct, back in with the Fannie and Freddie, and all they did was implement the procedures. You know, they went from 90%, and they said, by the way, if you make more than 100 and some thousand, now it's 96%. That's just implementation of the same rules. That's nothing new.
Time is
Oh,
expired.
I'm sorry, it had a green light here.
But if the gentleman yield for 1 second.
Yes.
Ms. Blair from FDIC, she has a proposal on the table. It's a drop on the bucket, $25 billion. While you're studying what the next proposal is going to be, she has a plan. Why can you take on that plan? Why can you support that plan?
Well, as I think the chairman described earlier this week, we've been in very much a lot of discussions with the FDIC and the other agencies to come up with the most effective plan. I think he had noted there are some design issues that still have to be worked out.
How long do you think it's going to take for you to come up with a real plan that will tackle the issue of foreclosures?
Well, we are trying to tackle it in a variety of ways.
Okay.
But I can't give you a specific timetable, but we are working expeditiously.
Mr. Westmoreland?